So here's the closing part of the court cards. The last 3 minutes, the mic stopped working. Luckily, this didn't happen during halfway into recording the court card series. So this is just going to be a quick closing of the court cards. So this will be a two-parter here. So where the mic left off is when I was talking about the division of the symbol here for the Tabula Mundi. Okay. It's broken up into 4 different perspectives. And we're looking at these perspectives coming in from earth, air, and fire elements. Okay, each quarter represents these elements. The circle represents the spirit, the completion of the self. The court cards, again, is the universal microcosm. All of this when it's complete. But when it's incomplete, it gets broken up, and that's where the balance and imbalance comes in towards the human soul. I say sometimes when I do readings that, looking at their astrological chart or looking at the elements that are coming up in the reading, if I do a reading and I'm getting a lot of energy that's leaning more towards cups and no air, maybe some earth and a little bit of fire, and also bringing in their astrological signs, their sun, moon, and rising, we need to see where we could create that balance in. Okay, why is this heavy with water? We know astrologically when the person was born, that's where their signs and planets were placed in those houses. But what can we do to balance out maybe too much water? Okay, we have to bring in some earth. That's why earth and water work good together. Okay, if there's too much water, it needs a runoff. It needs a place that any excess water can go into. It goes into the earth. Now, that's why we see during times of drought, and if we get a good rainy season and spring comes in and we see a lot of green, that's where all this water is going into, right? Logically, water goes into the earth and it starts sprouting and it starts putting life out. And it gives almost a second chance for those areas that were heavy hit with dryness to, get a reprieve. This water is very soothing and can condition the element of earth. And the same with fire. If there's too much fire, we have to tone down that fire. So what can we do? We have to be careful with water because we don't want to overdo the water and extinguish that, that energy of inspiration and whatnot. Maybe lessen it with air. Okay, put some more air. Let's kind of balance out those elements. So that's where the symbol comes in. We're creating a balance of all these elements to create some form of perfection. I don't like that word, but it's what's coming to mind. Some stability, some sense of things that are overall in harmony. Okay, and that's where I was working with here with our Princess of Disc. Okay, very simple, a very simple background. This is, again, representing the season of spring. So we're looking at Aries, Taurus, and Gemini energy. This is energy that's starting to move outward. Okay, again, I'm not going to repeat everything that I had just said for the last hour, but when looking at these suits, okay, and keeping in mind the decans, remember with the court cards, each of these, like with the Queen of Discs, okay, Queen of Discs is ruled primarily by the sign of Capricorn. But we have to go with 20 to 30 degrees of Sagittarius to go into that internal, the shadow, the darker side, the inner conscious aspect of this card. And that would be 20 to 30 degrees of Sagittarius is going to be, I have to think now. It is going to be, I believe, our 10 of Swords, or our 10 of Wands. And 10 of Wands tends to be shown as oppressive, overwhelming energy. Okay. So we look at that aspect of that 10 of Wands for that Sagittarius and how that plays a role in the 0 to 10, 10 to 20 degrees of Capricorn, which would be 2 and 3 of Pentacles, of coins. And those are very strong cards for Capricorn, the 2 and 3 of discs, very powerful cards. So that card of oppression with our Queen of Discs here can show that with steadiness and focus and discipline, because again, Capricorn's ruled by Sagittarius, we can have this focus to get out of this oppressive nature of maybe overdoing things. And that's something that Capricorn does have to watch out for, is being excessive with the energy that they put there. They work very hard. They like structure. They like order. They're very much traditionalists for the most part. But sometimes there could be too much of that. And sometimes that can weigh that energy down for Capricorn, and it can become something that's too much, too weighty. And that's where we can maybe see that inner influence of Sagittarius, that fiery energy of wanting to do this work and wanting to, do all of this stuff, but it's actually depleting the energy of what's needed to remain focused for this Queen of Discs. That's the negative side. Okay. Let's see here. So our aces, again, I was talking about, these are the initiators of the force. Okay, the root of the powers of fire. I don't know if it's going to focus. Okay. The root of the powers of water. I'm just going to show you these. These cards are at the very first episode of the Tabula Mundi series. These are all roots. This is where the inspiration is coming from. These are the personas that take these energies and put it into action. This is the inspiration. And everything is just like it's opened. It's ready to release, to share. It's ready to do the work. The Ace of Discs. Here it's a little bit complex because Meleen does go into detail about the power of the numbers that are here. But if you look closely here, look at this. We have the eyes here. At the bottom, we have the lotus. This is our Orphic egg. So this is our potential. It looks like a hot air balloon in a sense. It's rising above the sky. But here, this is our egg. This is what we're creating. This is our potentiality coming through these influences of these other princes. We get moved, we get inspired by our Princess of Wands. Emotionally, we feel this love and this joy for what we're doing. It's something that we really emotionally desire a lot to complete. We get the ideas, the way the way our mind is seeing what we are being inspired to move towards. This all plays a role here. And then our Princess of Discs, it's working with the sources that are around us, okay, and doing this creation of what's happening here in the Orphic egg. This comes this comes into play. There we go. This all comes to play through these other influences of earth, air, fire, and water. These all form what's happening here with the aces. Okay, so again, these are actions. These are the basis of where these actions and feelings and thoughts are coming from. These are the characteristics. These are the personifications of these energies that are going to go out and make these changes and feel the things that it needs to feel to move forward. Very important. I'm jumping here to our Queen of Swords and our Prince of Swords. Remember again, the Queen and the Knight. For all the suits, they represent the powers joining together and what they are forming. Okay. So mutability again is something that is transforming, something that was created with these two forces of fire. Of fire and water, and forming this process of the prince, the thought process, the outlook of how it approaches what needs to be done. Here we have some fairy-like figures, elf-like figures to support the energy of the Prince of Swans, or Prince of Swans, Prince of Swords. And here's our cherub here. Also, we see a transformation of the cherub, again, with the Medusa. And that's, again, something that we can talk about in this discussion group for the Tabula Mundi, for our study group. Our Queen of Swords, all justice, Libra, fairness, all the way. Holding the head of the person that questioned that person's judgment, holding the sword. And this is fascinating because we have here this Queen of Swords associated with Libra and justice. We see this is what's supporting the legs of this person is the swords. One of the arms is the swords. It's balancing the lemon scat, the infinity. This is a card that's almost like justice for all. No more, no less. This is a very powerful card of fairness, but also creating balance at the same time. Removing things that are disruptors. What we have here in this card. Okay, so I know I missed a few cards here. Our Queen of Cups. We have the Phoenix rising here. The reflection of oneself here are our Lotus. The Queen of Cups here would be representatory. For Cancer. And again, with the Rider-Waite system, I've always associated the Queen of Cups with Scorpio, but with the Tabula Mundi, Queen of Cups is seen as Cancer. It's ruled by the minor decans, minor arcana decans. This would be our 10 of Swords, which would be the 20 to 30 degrees of Gemini, and then 2 and 3 of Cups for 0 to 20 degrees of Cancer. Okay, so this is all about feeling. This is the visual interpretation of that energy. It's nurturing, it's instinctual. This is all what's going on within the Cancer. We have the shell that we see associated with Cancer. So we see this is the energy that ideally would be fulfilling for this individual. I'm going to show this here. See if I get this to focus. Okay. Well, for those of you who have the deck, you know what I'm talking about. We have the bees on either side to support that energy of beauty and of healing. So that's pretty much it with the court cards of the Tabula Mundi. Again, I don't want to go too much more in depth with this because I've already done a little bit over an hour. Just doing a general overview with some detail about some of the cards here. So as I've mentioned, I've decided to create a study group, particularly for this deck, because there's just so much information and detail, as you can see, and so many different ways to interpret and have varying insights of this deck. And I seem to be getting some interest for having this study group. So on my website, go to www.themysticrosetarot.com. I will list it in the description. I have on the main part of my website, I have a link for the study group. And when you click on that link, it'll give you just a general overview of what we will be doing during the time of working through the Tabula Mundi Tarot. On that page, you can also sign up. There'll be a link at the bottom. You click on that, and that's where you'll confirm. There is no charge for this, okay? Because I'm part of this journey with those who will be participating. And to emphasize, this is going to be online video study group. It's going to be a meetup online. It's not going to be up in blog form or anything. I cannot imagine doing something like this in blog form. I think video is much easier because then we can express ourselves in a easier fashion, and we can have the deck with us and the book if you do have it, and just show cards and just exchange information that way. So the first meetup I'm aiming for is May 4th of this year, in about 2 weeks, May 4th on Sunday, for an hour and a half from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And I like to find people who can make the commitment. For now, we'll do like maybe 2 meetings a month. So that'll give us time to, go through one part of the deck and explore it, and then come back 2 weeks later. Or maybe I'll do it once a week. I'll see when we first all meet up, and see how the schedule is for everyone. So prerequisites for this study group is basically, ideally, that you have the deck, and even better if you have the guidebook, the Tabula Mundi Tarot deck or book. And bring a notepad, a notebook, a pen, paper, and some understanding of the tarot is helpful. But there are some people who like to jump into deep decks like the Doth, or a deck like this. Some people like to begin their tarot journey with understanding the deepness of the tarot. And that's totally fine. So if you're new to the tarot and this deck is speaking to you, then by all means, work with that deck. these are, I almost want to call this a non-system deck because it's not really a Doth deck. It's not really a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's definitely not a Marseille deck. Non-system decks are decks that take interpretations from different forms of inspiration, and they create their own system of tarot. And this is what the Tabula Mundi is. Go to MM Meleen's website, and you'll see a plethora of different sources, inspirations, and of course, quite a few decks that she has, which basically, these are decks you can't really pigeonhole, and that's what I like. I like decks that get you to think outside the box. It's not like another Rider-Waite-Smith, or it's not another Doth lookalike. There is some Doth inspiration in here, but not really directly. And that's what I like with this, because Meleen brings in a little bit of her experience with her practice and studies with Crowley and Doth and the Esoteric and also Kabbalah, and putting it into this wonderful deck. So with that being said, I will put some links on both videos. Okay, this is the second part for the court card, since I lost the last 4 or 5 minutes of the previous video. I'll put links in both places. And let me know via email if you have any questions about this tarot group. I'm looking forward to it. This will be nice because it'll give me a break speaking fully about this deck on my own. So it'll be nice to share this space with other people and to educate ourselves with the meanings and the meaning and the imagery that is associated with the Tabula Mundi. All righty, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you taking part, for those who are interested in the study group. And I will be in touch again soon. I have another video completely different from this. I was going to try and record it last week, but I couldn't do it. So that particular video will be discussing returns, like Saturn returns, which I'm in, and just the meanings of these returns, because I think there's not really a good understanding of returns astrologically, and how they can affect you in great ways and maybe not so great ways. It's just the perspective that you have towards returns. So I'll talk about that in a separate video. But for now, if you have any questions about this, of course, feel free to reach out to me. And I will see you all again soon. I'm very excited about this study group. So again, come with questions for those who will be taking part. Come with questions, come with an open heart and an open mind. And this would be a perfect place to talk about the Tabula Mundi Tarot. All right, have a wonderful week, everyone, and I will see you all again soon. Bye-bye.